To start with my talk, firstly, I will begin with the country context aligned with climate change, then moving to sector-specific strategies for adaptation toward this climate, and finally conclude my talk with a kind of probing how climate change adaptation in WASH could be a distraction. Ethiopia is prone to extreme climate variability, both spatially and temporally. The country is actually arid to semi-arid for more than 65%. Such climate variability has caused climate-related hazards, such as floods and droughts. For example, if we have looked at since 1980s, the country has experienced multiple droughts that has caused dozens of life losses. And similarly, there have been a number of floods since 1988, causing more or less similar causalities. Now, the big question is whether such climate-related hazards are really due to climate change or due to poor water management or due to the conventional existing climate harsh. There has been some analysis on the past trend of climate as well as on the future projection. For example, meteorological data analysis for over 15 years in the country has shown a temperature rise of only 0.37 degrees Celsius. Again, for rainfall, this is more or less similar. But a projection over 3 periods, which is from 2030, 2050, and 2080, shows a rise in temperature ranging from 0.9 degrees Celsius up to 3.4 degrees Celsius. So we are expecting, like, after 60 years from now, a temperature rise of 3.4 degrees Celsius. The same analysis has shown more or less similar precipitation. There has been a study that shows the relationship between temperature rise and water availability, as well as temperature rise and the incidence of diarrheal disease. In East Africa, for example, a temperature rise by 4 degrees Celsius would cause a reduction of water availability by 50%, whereas a temperature rise by 1 degree Celsius would lead to an incidence of diarrheal disease by 5%. When we come to adaptation strategy in the country has developed and endorsed a climate adaptation strategy, which is called a climate resilient green economy. This is a governing strategy which a country has. And this strategy insists for all development programs to mainstream climate adaptation in their plan. This strategy is cascaded through national adaptation plan. And the recent adaptation plan is the one developed last year during 2019, developed for the coming 15 years. For example, this adaptation plan shows the country requires $6 billion USD per year to mainstream all climate adaptation plan in its development program. If we have looked at a sector-specific adaptation strategy, which is WASH, particularly in this case is water supply focused. There are 3 main strategies identified in relation with water supply. One is on enhancing water quantity and ensuring water quality. And the second one is on technology choices, mainly using low energy demanding technologies and renewable energy sources. And the third one is about using multi-village community water supply systems. In line with enhancing water quantity and water quality, groundwater is the major focus area because it is one of the resilient water supply sources and also currently the main water supply sources for the country. As part of this, there is a massive campaign in soil and water conservation, as well as in a national campaign on afforestation. For this year alone, for example, 5 billion trees are planned to be planted. In terms of technology, again, the main strategy is to reduce carbon emission through using renewable energy for water pumping as well as for water treatment. Multi-village water supply schemes are actually deep borehole or motorized deep boreholes that could serve multiple villages and sometimes even multiple districts. So now the question is, can we really ensure the sustainability of water supply services only by considering or by ensuring water sources or water quality? Of course, the answer is no, because there has to be a number of other factors to be considered to ensure water supply sustainability. And some of them are like ensuring the design, the construction, post-construction management, including operation and maintenance, because all these have their big stake in sustaining water supply services. Again, if we have looked at the key challenges of WASH in the country, there are really a number of challenges for that. One is the existing limited access, low service levels, unreliable services because services of WASH are frequently interrupted, and also a big question for sustainability. So climate change actually only aggravates all those existing problems. So solving or overcoming the existing WASH challenges would definitely lead to further progress toward this adaptation and resilience of climate change. So climate change adaptation could be a distraction in WASH, actually. One is if we fail to address non-climatic challenges due to focus on climatic factors. And the second one is if adaptation is mainstreamed in WASH without reliable data, because planning is really planning for adaptation and resilience should rely on reliable data. And the third one is if the adaptation is not followed by a clear guideline and the priorities, this would definitely lead to the distraction in WASH. And the fourth one is if the climate change or lack of mainstreaming adaptation is seen as an excuse for every failure in WASH services. And the fifth one is if climate change adaptation is perceived as a sole solution for WASH challenges instead of being only as a one factor. And the final one is if adaptation is perceived as a prerequisite to finance WASH rather than as one aspect is to sustain WASH services. Thank you so much. Back to you, moderator.